Funding for this program was provided in part by the Rollins Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology, a center in the Marriott School of Management at Brigham Young University.
Hello, I'm Nathan Furr from the Marriott School of Management at Brigham Young University. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Lecture Series. Today we'll be hearing from Travis Cook, an owner and co-founder of SolutionStream, a software development firm. After working in several large information technology departments, Travis saw a definite problem. Software projects were missing time and financial estimates by 100% or more. SolutionStream was established to provide a successful process for designing, developing, and delivering software and websites. The company has given technical services since 1998 and has developed large-scale applications for Omniture, Novell, Valero Energy, the LDS Church, and many others. Mr. Cook's entrepreneurial spirit has also led him to start an automobile dealership as well as a commercial property holding company. Travis graduated with a bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University and an MBA from the University of Utah. He resides in Alpine, Utah with his wife Ashley and their 4 children. The Marriott School of Management welcomes Travis Cook to the Entrepreneur Lecture Series. Travis, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your coming. One of the purposes of the Entrepreneur Lecture Series is to extract general principles of entrepreneurship that our students can apply as well as the audience, and really try to take these ideas and principles to a larger forum. What I'd like to do is talk to you today about the stages of forming and building an entrepreneurial company. However, before we get into that, what I'd like to do is just ask you for more background about yourself. Tell us, what is your background and how did you get involved in entrepreneurship?
Okay. Well, I guess it started from a very early age. My dad, he loved to take us out to sell things. And when I was a teenager, we would go through neighborhoods selling all kinds of strange things that we would make for money, because he just really wanted to impress upon us the need to be able to interact and to be able to sell something. So that's where it really started, is I really felt confident that I could sell something and I could talk to someone I'd never met before and be conversant about it. So that's kind of the initial seeds. And then I went through school. I guess through school I never really planned on, I always knew I was going to start my own company, but I really didn't have a really solid plan for that. I just knew I was going to go work in industry, do what I was good at, and kind of look for an opening, look for the opportunity as I went. Yeah. And so I went, and back then they didn't have entrepreneurial. They had an entrepreneurial class, but there was no program per se. Yeah. So it was IT, and so I went through the IT program. It was kind of something that I had an affinity towards. I really liked business, but I also really liked the technology behind it, and kind of was self-taught in programming and systems and databases and all kinds of technology. Even though I was in the business program, I just learned all that on my own. And then I went and got my MBA and kind of got a little more specific on, I was able to take the important classes there about finance, about marketing, about sales, about entrepreneurism. And then that's where really I started to get the idea that I could start my own company.
That's interesting. I relate to that. I sold soda and candy bars to my father's employees. They probably felt like a captive audience. Although I didn't feel early on like I would start a company. It kind of occurred to me later on. So I'm curious about kind of at what point do you really, why did you go to industry first? I mean, you could have just jumped out and started your own company.
Yeah, great question. It just really, it hit me. I had a couple of mentors in my MBA program, a couple of people that were in business and were very successful, and a couple of professors that unanimously, they said, learn on someone else's dime. And that can sound kind of harsh or I don't know what, but you really should go out into industry and go into the field that you are interested in and get to know it. When you're just coming out of school, you do know a lot. You've learned a lot, but there's so much more. I mean, you learn just a small fraction of what you really need to know to run a business. And so I took that to heart, and I went to work for a couple different large IT companies where I could be in a variety of positions. I was a development manager, I was a testing manager, I was a CTO in one company. I just got exposed to the needs of a small or medium-sized, one of them was a large company in terms of IT. What do they need? And that's really what I started, when I started to see it really clear, of just how poorly things were being provided to them from both vendors as well as internal service departments.
Yeah.
I just was flustered and frustrated as a manager, thinking, this is so mediocre.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be hard to do so much better than this and get paid better doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a great segue into Solution Stream. This is kind of, you know, the birth of Solution Stream. So tell us more about Solution Stream and about that industry.
Okay.
What are the fundamentals of that industry?
Well, Solution Stream is a technology consulting company. The majority of what we do are large-scale, intensive, for lack of a better word, websites. So we're not your typical, you know, advertising or marketing company that just builds a lot of front-end pretty stuff. We're usually almost, you know, 90% of the time the serious web application that goes on the back end. And I'm kind of focusing on web a lot because that's really how applications are deployed these days. Used to be, when we first started, it was client server. Now it's all web-based, and in the future it'll be other things. But right now, that's the majority of what we deliver. So we help take a company through the process of creating the idea for the web application they need, defining, organizing it, staffing it, running that project, and then implementing it. So we're a turnkey shop where we can handle all phases of a large-scale software project and basically deliver a functioning website to them. The hope is on time and under budget.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work that way in software, but we have a pretty good track record, and that's really what made me start doing it. It's just in several different of these companies I was at, I was just amazed at how far over budget software projects would go, and how bad the failures were, and how IT was even looked down on because they couldn't deliver stuff. They couldn't ever get it right. And so you'd have departments like marketing and finance who would actually go outside and hire other companies to come in and do IT's job. And I was in IT, and I kind of took that personally. So I guess I decided to be one of those outsourced companies.
That's great. Well, maybe what we could do now is shift gears a little bit and talk about the stages of building a company from, you know, ground up. Maybe even you don't have an idea, or you do have an idea, and then how do you move forward for there? And Solution Stream sounds like it would be a great example for that. So what do you see as the stages of developing an entrepreneurial company?
Well, first you kind of have an idea, you know, and that's, I don't know, that's, I've got a lot of thoughts there, but that's really a hard part of the process.
Yeah.
There are so many ideas out there, and a lot of them can be great ideas. And really, I think what it comes down to is what do you want to do? Whatever idea you decide to focus in on, you need to be passionate about it. I mean, you need to live, eat, breathe, and sleep this idea. If you don't believe in it to that amount, and if it's not that fun to you, it's probably not going to be that great of an idea or a company, because the company is really going to embody you as a person. And so you get an idea, and then you start planning. Back in college, it was really easy to see what I wanted to be doing, and so it started the idea for me, meaning I could work $10 an hour doing lab TA kind of work, you know, or I started making connections with some companies and some friends who would pay me $30 or $40 an hour as a student to be a part-time programmer. And, you know, that was easy math. I could do this, make a lot more money as a student, work a quarter of the time, and by the way, I'm learning and doing what I like. I mean, I would be up programming and having fun with that on my own at night for free anyway, so I might as well be making some money doing it.